With cold, blunt analysis, cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
My sister, now keep in mind, this is her PhD doctorate, her dissertation. My sister, myself. The identification of socio-cultural factors that affect the advancement of African American women into senior level administrative positions. So she's already her dissertation is about complaining that African American women don't progress through the ranks. Okay? And do you want to know why they don't? You want to guess? Okay, let's skip on down. It begins with a biographical sketch. I have never seen this in a dissertation before. Maybe it's more common than I think, but I fail to see why this is in a dissertation. I don't care about your background. All right. And it's written in the third person, but she wrote it, which is really weird. She tells everybody that she's a member of a certain sorority. I don't know why that matters. She's a member of the Order of the Eastern Star, which is the female auxiliary for the Freemasons. Why that matters. Bonnie is very passionate about identity development. Yeah, I bet she is. Wait a minute. Graham thinks that the problem must be racism. Oh, Graham, I can't believe you would say something like that. Okay, move on down. She has a dedication page. That's fine. I had one too. Mine was like 5 lines long, though, because nobody loved me. Joking. Everybody loves me. Acknowledgements. Okay, fine. Let's get on down here. Okay. This qualitative research study explores and compares the perceptions of challenges and barriers to career advancement for African American women, senior level administrators at public and private colleges and universities in North Carolina. In North Carolina. Um, I don't know what they're comparing. I thought at first they would be comparing African American women's experiences with those of non African American. But no, the only people involved in this study were African American women. So there's no baseline study. There's no way to say whether their challenges or barriers or whatever are any more extreme than anybody else's because she never bothered to do a baseline. The Hertzberg's motivation hygiene. I've seen this before. Basically, it sounds very, let's say, fancy, but all it means is that motivation are those factors that encourage people, let's say, make people like their job, and hygiene are those things that maybe make people hate their job. And Hertzberg decided that those were different things and that you could catalog those things separately. I'm not joking you. That's the extent of the complexity of the motivation hygiene two factor theory. So basically, she's going to do some interviews and then she's going to take these factors and decide whether they would encourage somebody to want to stay on the job or discourage them. That's what she did. I'm not joking. That's it. One of our most devout Kyle Rittenhouse supporters is Squatchy. He's on Twitter all the time defending Kyle tooth and nail, and he's run into some harsh luck here lately. He has an autistic son who needs a computer for his education. I guess there's a therapist that can help him, but he needs a computer for it. He asked if we could help maybe raise some money for him. So I'd appreciate it if any of you could go in there, go to the PayPal and donate a few bucks. I mean, won't set you back much. I don't have PayPal, but I'm going to open one, and when I do, I'll go ahead and donate a little bit of money as myself. But I would appreciate it if you go on there and do that for him. The personal profiles and narratives of senior level African American women in higher education were collected. The research was designed to capture the socio-cultural factors, assess administrators' demeanor, and then she says interpersonal work relationships, overall. Okay, this is a very poorly constructed sentence. There's no parallelism. The research was designed to capture the socio-cultural factors, assess administrators' demeanor. Okay, so you got a verb, interpersonal work relationships, which there is no verb. So the assessment, those things must follow under assessment. So she should have put an and between factors and assess. This is on the first page. Damn it, Bonnie. I picked this thing up immediately. You how many people were supposed to look at this thing? She had like 5 committee members, which is normal, 5, and herself, and they all missed this. Um, Face to face as well as phone interviews. Okay, so she had her entire PhD was interviewing 14 people over a period of 1 month. Let that soak in. PhD. My PhD, when I started on the actual research, took 5 fucking years. She had a month of real work and then writing it. I'm not joking you. They are handing out PhDs like candy. "14 people." I got into the wrong profession. Um, the results of this research indicated that stereotypes as a result of race, age, gender were hygiene factors. In other words, those things that discouraged people from liking their job. And the women had to be more persistent and find alternatives to succeed. Who didn't see that coming? Who did not see when you read the title of the dissertation that this was not going to be the outcome? Keep in mind, she only interviewed African American women and asked them, like, hey, have you had any challenges? And guess what? They all said yes. Because African American women are the only people out there who have troubles with their job. 14 interviews. The themes identified were stereotypes based on race, age, and gender. This thing here in yellow was lifted verbatim, copied and pasted from another source. She writes, page 24, can't do this. This was lifted verbatim. You have to block it off in a quote because the person reading it has to know that this was copied and pasted from another source. Now, I wouldn't call this plagiarism so much because she did tell you where she got it, but this is just not very good. She didn't not write it this way. Somebody else did. Now, Given that this is mostly technical stuff, this is not so bad. However, if the text had been worded in a clever, creative way, doing this would have been plagiarism. Okay. If I'm a committee member, I would have picked up on this. I would have caught this and said, hey, Bonnie, you can't do this. Look, either put quotes around it or better, put it in a block quote by itself so people know that somebody else actually wrote this. Citing it, page 24, is not good enough. But whatever. Oh, by the way, according to Blakesdale 2006, many researchers do. Okay, so this is a good lesson for all of you writing technical papers. Be careful of things like many. Many could be three, it could be a thousand. According to him, many researchers suggest problems for African American women. I could come back and say, well, maybe more suggest that they're not. If you say a majority, that's at least a little better. It's at least 50%, but the word many has no meaning whatsoever in a dissertation. I can't use it, and she shouldn't have used it. Um, is it a preponderance of researchers? Okay, that's a little bit better. All right. And by the way, um, Blakesdale basically, you would want to go to the original researchers that Blakesdale is actually using and cite them. And the reason why is this was written in 2016, 10 years after Blakesdale, but the researchers that Blakesdale is citing could be even older. Well, they're certainly older, but it could be a lot older. Therefore, you have to go back to the original researchers and cite them so that the reader knows how old these claims are. This is technical writing 101. Again, they give out PhDs like candy. And I don't blame Bonnie so much. Look, she has a committee. They're supposed to catch this stuff. All right, let's scroll on down here. In 2016, there is still a disparity in the representation of African American women in senior level administrative positions in higher education. Wow, that's a pretty amazing fact. Would have been nice to cite it. Where did you get that, Bonnie? You can't make a claim like that. You have to tell people where you got it. You got to justify it. But again, her committee are they're not people who are critical thinkers or putting up any kind of challenge to anything she does. They're friends. They probably know her very well. They're buddies. They're going to let her get away with this kind of stuff. Um, 2011 claim. It's 5 years old already, but that's okay. I probably shouldn't have made a big deal out of that. Here's another thing that absolutely drives me crazy. Um, she says here, very few studies have explored the challenges. Okay, I can go along with that. The University of North Carolina system currently has 5 women serving as chancellor, and she lists them. Is that a small number or is that a large number? I don't know because she doesn't tell me how many chancellors there are in total. If there are only 5 chancellors and all 5 are women, that's a whole lot different than if there are 50 chancellors and only 5 are women. But she doesn't tell you. Of the 3 women presidents, 2 are African American. How many? Okay, are 2 African American women? Is that small or large? Well, it turns out that I did the numbers. I actually did do the research, and I found that there should have been 3.5 if the number of, let's say, presidents reflected the student population, which it will not. But if you're going to say that the percentage of presidents should reflect the students, then it should have been 3.5 African Americans. There are two. But I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to go to Google and go and look up data to understand whether three women and two African Americans is large or small. That's her job, and she didn't do it. Liana Silva Ford, editor in chief of Women in Higher Education, said that I don't care what she says. I want data. I want evidence. I don't want opinions. Sylvia Ford also suggested that I don't care what Sylvia Ford suggests. Many times they end up looking for and as a result hiring people. What does many times mean? Again, be very careful of these weaselly many, very few, or whatever. It's it's worthless. Let's see what I had here written. Significant gains in career advancement within the academy has not been evident, particularly concerning senior administrative leadership positions. Wow, that's a great claim. Too bad you didn't tell us where you got it. Bennis, 1989, believed that. I don't care what he believes. And 1989, that goes way back. Um, if I am on the committee, I'm going to tell Bonnie, look, I need to know what the evidence suggests. I don't care what these people think. They are entitled to their opinion, but this is just editorial. This is supposed to be a research dissertation, and you're writing an editorial. Uh-uh. Not on my watch, but they let it go. Framework. I hate the name or hate the term framework. I have no idea what that means. Several public and gosh, several public and private colleges and universities were identified. How many? 11. But I had to read on. Why not tell us? I'm sorry, 16. Oh, here, this is great. This is called resume padding. If you need to have your resume long to impress all your friends, this is what you do. The 16 public universities are, and then she goes on to list them all. Oh, I'm sorry, no. She's listing the 16 public universities in North Carolina. There are 46 private colleges and universities. She lists them all. Like, why are you doing that? Because only a small fraction of these participated in the study. This is resume padding. It makes the resume look bigger. Of what possible use is this information? None. I don't care if North Carolina Wesleyan College is in North Carolina. They remain underrepresented in senior level administrative positions in North Carolina. I would love to know where she got that information. No citation. Um, I mean, I don't want to bore you with a lot of this stuff. Oh, therefore, it was critical to examine any biases and assumptions before the interviews. Oh, yeah, we wouldn't want to be biased. No. Who here thinks that she was not biased in the way that she did this study? Okay. Um, then, definitions of key terms. Let's pad our resume by spending pages upon pages on, like, president, the chief executive officer of a college. Oh, I'm glad that she took the time to tell us that. white institution. Again, 2, 3 pages added in for no real good reason. Figures in the data, where are they? We don't know. And there's no citation where the data is. Oh my gosh. At this point, I started a little bit tired, so I wasn't reading it very carefully. Um, Black administrators in leadership positions are underrepresented in 4-year private institutions. Underrepresented, meaning that their numbers are smaller than you would expect given the percent of the students that are black or maybe the percent of the overall population. The trouble is, she doesn't provide you any data to compare to. Okay. Racial composition of administrators. Okay. 11.3. Racial distribution of full time administrators. 9.0. But how many, what were they supposed to be? No clue. No clue. And all this stuff here, it's the same kind of data. Gee, it would have been nice to put that in a table, but I don't know. Um, I'm just going to skip through all this. Yeah, we got wikia.com as a citation here. Whatever. The distress and disheartening feelings have caused many women to leave the academy. Yeah? How many is many? Don't do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just blew through this. Keep in mind, we haven't got to the research yet. Here's the methodology. Then she gives reasons why qualitative research is used here. Um, Engages participants. This is why she's using this, which is the basis for action and change. So, and keep in mind, she says here, qualitative research pays attention to the action it seeks to bring about. In other words, she chose qualitative research because she wants a certain end game, and qualitative research will give that to her. This is bias. Your dissertation is not designed to be a 5-year plan. It's not designed to produce change that you want. It's designed to tell you what the current state of the system is. There, and this permeates a lot of the liberal arts. Um, Dissertations are written to produce political results that the university and, of course, the people on this committee think are desirable. And they basically admit it here. Okay, I'll skip on down. Here's an image. She stole this from another citation. I wrote it down here. It's from um, Bosman, 2011. No attribution. Come on, can't do that. I didn't even look to see where she got that one, but I can almost guarantee you she didn't draw it. Okay, I don't know if there's anything there. 14 senior level African American were purposefully selected. What was the criteria? And my gut feeling is quite a few of them were probably her friends. Remember, she's already been working in administration, even though she's, still a graduate student getting her PhD. She's been working in administration in North Carolina, and she interviewed North Carolina black female administrators. I'm almost willing to bet that she knew quite a few of the people involved in the study. Here's the problem: she never disclosed whether she knew any of the participants. If she didn't, she needs to come out and say that. In true spirit, she would not have known who was actually participating. But since she sent out the email to the participants, she obviously knows who's involved. Now, as a graduate student, she doesn't have like staff members that can email for her. So I get that. But Bonnie, if you knew any of these administrators, you needed to tell the committee this in your dissertation. And if you didn't know, you needed to tell them. There has to be disclaimer in your dissertation about this, and you didn't include it. And quite frankly, I believe that a large number of these people involved in this were actually friends of hers, purposefully selected by what criteria? To keep in mind, you're a graduate student. You're trying to get people to participate. Who are you going to ask that are going to spend an hour or two being interviewed? You're going to go to your friends. They're willing to do it. So here they are. They have participant IDs. Okay, fine. Um, trying to I can't quite read that. What I wrote. 11 public and private colleges and universities were selected for this research. 5 public universities, 5 privates. How, and by the way, later she talks about the percentage of the participants that were from HBCUs. Guess what? It's pretty large. And I would like to know, of these 11, how many were HBCUs? She doesn't say. My gut feeling is quite a few of them. You can't get this past me. I'm not going to let it slide. I'll catch this every time. This was done very poorly. Um, all 14 interviews were completed over a period of a month and 4 days. You heard that right. That data collection took a month. PhD. Um, Here are the questions that were asked. Do you believe work related stereotypes exist? I don't care what they believe. What role do you think gender, race, or class plays? I don't care what they think. Your role as a scientist is to challenge commonly held beliefs. You can't challenge commonly held beliefs if your data results are based on what people believe and think. I mean, this is backwards. Um, I don't care what they believe. I don't care what they think. I want to know, what does the data suggest? Have you ever been overlooked for a promotion? I imagine a lot of people feel that they've been overlooked for a promotion that weren't really overlooked. They weren't qualified, but they felt qualified for it. So, how can you use this for data? If so, what do you believe was the reason? You're just surveying people on their attitudes. Worthless. completely worthless. Why do you think there are so few African American women senior level administrators in higher education? The purpose of your research is to find out why. You don't turn around and say, well, why do you think that there are so few? Oh, well, here's the reason why I think, well, that must be the reasons then. Um, man, this is so bad. Now, it's not Rashad Ritchie bad, okay? It's better than Rashad's. With this dissertation, I would have stopped Bonnie about well before that she would have defended and told her, look, you've got some serious problems with your research study. Asking people for their beliefs is a no no, especially if you're asking them for their beliefs on the very research question you're trying to answer. There are also other issues with bias, overt bias, and methodology. But I would say you need to go back and redo this. With Rashad's, I would have told him, you need to leave graduate school. You don't belong here. But that's just me. That's my opinion. And by the way, Rashad Ritchie has threatened to sue me. Well, according to his lawyer, he's already suing me. But yeah, that ain't happening. Have you personally and professionally taken time to mentor other African American women in higher education? That question does not belong in this dissertation. It does not point to any of the research questions. You're supposed to find out what the existing state of the system is now. You're not trying to find out what people are planning to do about it in the future. Project into the future. Okay. No, let's not do that. In Daryl Brooks's case here, um, this would be called, let's see here. Um, dang it. I can't recall. At any rate, projecting the future is guessing. It's worthless. What legacy have you left or do you intend to leave? Worthless. So here are the dates and times in which they conducted these interviews. It doesn't say how long, but if you look at the list of questions, and I'll go down to it really quickly here. Oh, here. If you want to pad your dissertation, you include a biography of each of the participants. Their biography is only nominally important. It certainly is not worth that. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention there's no attempt to blind the study. So the people who she is interviewing, they know that she knows who they are. And because they're administrators, they're not going to say anything terribly negative because there could be repercussions for that. But even more importantly, a lot of them probably know her. So they're going to naturally respond in a way that they think will satisfy her. There was never any attempt to blind the study. And it would not have been hard to do, but she didn't do it. So everybody knew who was questioning whom, just not well done. And okay, the Good Old Boys Network, this is one of the complaints that she pulled out of it. The majority of participants felt pressure to work twice as hard as others while experiencing the blatant and covert acts of racism and sexism. This is in a dissertation where the entire data collection took place over a period of a month, and she's complaining that that African American women, they have to work twice as hard as others. Keep in mind that after she got this PhD, which I don't think could have taken 6 months to write, within 6 years, she had a vice president position. So tell me how hard she had to work to get that. It's a bunch of crap, I'm telling you. Um, oh, finally have a chart. Whatever. Profound stereotypes, identified participants, and you know what those are going to be. Okay, I think this pretty much does it for me. The main theme here is, and I kind of lost sight of this, but excuse me. Ugh. President Mosley should have known trouble was coming. She wrote her dissertation on how hard it is for, well, basically, how she's going to be mistreated as a black woman when she's an administrator. And he hired her. She's going to be looking for racism and conflict under every rock. You don't have to pay for trouble. You can get trouble for free. But he bought trouble. He created a problem and spent 6 months trying to figure out how to solve it. This dissertation here indicates that she was trouble. She's already bitter about her role as an administrator before she even gets the job, before she even gets out of graduate school. She's writing about it. This is the person with that drives up into the parking lot with 40 bumper stickers on the back of her car, and all of them complaining about something. And you hire that person, you want to hire positive people. The people that are going to, like, when they hear somebody that could be have slighted them, would say, I could have taken this negatively, but I think that I'm going to give him or her the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he meant it that way. That's the kind of person you want to hire. You don't hire people who are going to take everything that is said in the worst possible manner. And this person would have absolutely have done it. And in her emails to President Mosley, she's doing exactly that. That's why she got involved in all of these conflicts, because she was looking for the conflicts. And she thought that her sticking her nose in everybody else's business would be beneficial because she knows how to handle people. She knows how to run a university. She spent all that time telling the president how to run the university, but at the same time, telling everybody, oh, I don't want to be president. Oh, perish the thought. Um, yeah. The trouble was that she couldn't fix the problem. And in so doing, she pissed off the president, who then turned around and said, life was a lot easier before you came on. And so he fired her. And why did he fire her? One of the reasons was that she disclosed confidential statements from grievances, which is exactly what she did in that email. In fact, most of that email is her disclosing confidential statements from people. So she was one who got hired and was bad mouthing everybody. If Karen said something bad about Jim, Jim would know about it because Bonnie would tell him. And if Karen said something that might have been construed as negative, she would construe it as negative and then tell Jim. She spent most of the time, I guarantee you, she spent most of her time getting involved in other people's battles and trying to settle them. I have a feeling that's what those 2 in the morning emails were all about. You don't conduct normal university business at 2 in the morning. What you do is you receive complaints about one person over another at 2 in the morning, and you're responding back to that. This is Twitter. I mean, right? If you ever Have you ever like gotten onto Twitter and like, okay, I'm really sleepy and tired, but damn it, I can't let that dude get away with this. No, I am responding. Well, that's what she was doing, I think, all the time. People saw her as somebody that would listen to their complaints about the other office workers. And she would. But then she would also tell them. The proper term is called cancer. She was a cancer in the workplace. Now, I could have it all wrong, but I don't think I do. Reading that email, it sure looks like to me a person that is unhinged, obsessive, and basically unfit for the job. I'm tired. I've been going on it for a while now. Any kind of final comments about? Oh, and by the way, let me see if I have it still up here in my clipboard. Yeah, I posted the PayPal for a Squatchy again. If you can help him out, I'd greatly appreciate it. A few bucks here. Go on there, click on the link, give him a little bit of money. He needs some help. He's had a hard time of it lately, and he's a big time Kyle Rittenhouse supporter and has spent a lot of time fielding off the stupid things that people say about Kyle and his family, right? Now, so I would have really appreciate it. Let's see here. They should have stuck with Wikia. Why did they rename it to Fandom? Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah, Fandom would not have looked good, would it? I didn't bother to look at her references uh, enough. So, final thoughts. You know, don't let a job do this to you. No matter how bad the job is, you can leave. And while finances could be hard and you can have some pride hurt, you know, leaving this earth through a suicide and devastating your family over a job, don't do that. There are people you can call, you got friends, suicide hotlines, whatever. Call somebody and talk to them. Don't let a job drive you to the grave. Any rate, guys, I am tired. I'm going to flesh out here. And I know that a lot of people are going to really hate me for what I'm saying about her. But hey, oh, that's maybe one more final thing I want to say. People are going to say that I'm attacking Bonnie, but they have no trouble attacking Mosley, the president. That's every bit as unfair. And, you know, he very well may be in the right. And if so, he needs people to come to his defense. He doesn't need to be sacrificed for Candia-Bailey if she was in the wrong. And everything tells me that she was nothing but trouble. So he's a human being too. He's trying to take care of his family, and he's being called racist. He's being called all kinds of names, bully and all that. And from what I can tell, he might deserve a little bit of it. But you know what? He's not the first president to be a little bit of a bully or maybe be a little insensitive. His job as a president is handle the budgets, bring in money and hire people. That's it. And as far as I can tell, he was doing that job. He doesn't have to be a nice guy, and a lot of them aren't. So it's her job to deal with it. So, any rate, thanks guys for hanging around. This probably was not the most exciting of my streams, but it was just a lot of stuff I wanted to say. And I was going to try to put together some videos on it, but editing those would have been a lot of trouble. And so I decided the easiest way for me to do it is just do it this way. So take it easy, everybody.